I'm sitting at Cliff's computer station, and he has crap. It's like a not a thrift store. It's like a oh,
That just means he's creative.
I know, but I mean, there's like trinkets all over the place. Like a what is that called?
You have to make your space your own.
Like a flea market. It's like a flea market in here, or a swap meet. That's a better.
You find wonderful stuff at swap meets, though.
I know, but I have no room to maneuver here.
I mean, look, man, it's like when my wife comes into the man cave. Like, don't be moving stuff. Don't touch my stuff. Leave my stuff alone.
Okay, he's got stuff like this. Why the heck do you need this?
Because he finds it important. That's
but
why.
Then he puts it on my head, and it's like freaky, you know?
Maybe
like,
that's the point, though. He bought it to annoy you.
Why do we need Danielson? Why do we need Danielson?
Is that his spirit animal or something? Who knows, man? I don't know.
There's all kinds of stuff here. We have an easy button. I mean, things are falling all over the place here.
It's very interesting living with other people, right? It's very interesting because everyone has their own stilo. You just have to go and be like, look, this is your space. Do with your space what you're going to do. And I have to be cool with that. It has to be some namaste there, right?
Well, I am in his space, so I'll just have to deal with it. But it's so funny, like it's just random stuff. Like there's no theme. It's just random.
It could be a theme to him. There could be a theme. It could make sense.
Brown, I feel like you're a Webbs and your husband is a Mike.
It could
make chaos and order.
Well, no, he's very organized. Like even probably more so. Like this is his space, so it's not organized. But like I'll walk or I'll drop a crumb and he'll get the dustpan and like this. I'm like, dude, I'll clean it up at the end. Or, you are getting ready to eat dinner and you have dirty dishes. Oh no, he'll do the dishes so that they're all clean, and then we have to do more after. I'm like, just do them all at the same time.
But this goes to our
use the dishwasher. He won't use the dishwasher, so we do them all by hand.
Right? Why is distance learning such a cool thing? Everyone should be able to be themselves in that space, right? Here's what the task is. If I want to click the task, I can click it. If I want to Amy Brown the task, I can Amy Brown the task. But there should be, here's the task, and you get to, you complete that task in a way that's befitting of your skill set and your philosophy.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of like a Kurt type person. I want to do it a little bit at a time because I need to process and like switch modes of like production versus consumption.
Right. So sports fans, we're back from a little hour break. This is our last session of the Virgil Con, which is kind of sad. It kind of tears me up just a little bit, Webbs. What say you?
This has been an interesting year, just in general. I mean, I feel like that's an understatement.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, kind of like being a little,
I love the conversations a lot, and I get a lot out of them. And also having conversations requires energy for me. So I'm always torn because I really enjoy the conversations, but I do end the day very tired.
Indeed. So we're here with friend of the show, Amy Brown, music teacher extraordinaire. We will be collabing with a Sharp Music Mind here on Monday. There'll be a little mini conference we'll do for 2 days on Monday. So if you're interested in now with the kind of a flavor on Canvas, some of the Google stuff, screencasting, things like that. If you're interested in those kind of things, we can drop the link in the chat at some point or Facebook, whatever.
Doing it right now.
We're interested in talking to Brown about like getting buy-in on your campus to get people to kind of make this shift, ideological shift. So Brown, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself.
Jenny says hi, by the way.
Hey, Jenny. Yep. She's come a long way in these last couple of months. Okay, so my name is Amy Brown. I've been in the school district, Clark County School District this is my 22nd year. All of them have been at the same school. I guess I'm a creature of habit. I know that's not normal, but I love my area and love working there. Let's see. I also did 3 years in Florida. So I guess 25 years total is what I'm starting now.
Indeed, indeed. So like, take us on this tech journey. Like, how did you become someone who's proficient, somebody uses technology, sees the value of it? Like, what's that story?
Oh dear. Well, you have been there with me since the beginning. Yeah, you're both laughing because you remember it has been quite the ride. So I believe it was the summer of 2016, because I think that is when we started earning CUs. Like that's when the CU program started coming out. So you two started some tech classes at our school, and I think all I could do at that point was turn on the computer, check my email, and probably surf the web and watch like a YouTube video. So I was in charge of, we were also doing some NEPF, Nevada Educators Professional Framework, for those of you not in CCSD, like our little assessment tool. So I was on the team to help create one of those components of the training for the district, and it was on assessment. Well, they were trying to make, or we were sharing PowerPoint slides. Well, I had never even used PowerPoint. I know PowerPoint's been around forever. I never even used it. So if you remember, I came in and we were working on things, and I was a mess and a half. I think I was even crying, and Webbs, you came over, like, come on, it's going to be okay. Let's get through this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never, ever, ever going to get this stuff. So fast forward 5 years, and I'm now training teachers and you know, putting out a blog and a Facebook group and like all this stuff. But it started with me just having the interest and understanding that I want to do this for me. And it's not that I'm going to get a CU or I'm going to get credit or this. I knew, I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything of where we're going. And so I better get this. And I was fortunate to have, you know, that being offered right in my own backyard. Not been at my school, I would not be where I am if you had not had that. And then Mike, you continued that through these last 5 years of just, hey, let's do this and do this. And like, we have our tech meetings every day. And I would not be where I am without that, without the two of you. So I definitely credit a lot to you. But what's interesting is after that whole thing, and I started to get a little bit better and a little bit better, I have my little notes here to make sure I get it right. It was probably 2017. So it had been like not even a full year. It was spring of 2017. And all of our little group that you had, our little tech group there, you told us, you're like, all right, I want you guys to present at the Q conference, the Computer Using Educators Conference. And we sat there, like a lot of us, and we're like, are you nuts? Like, no. And so you pushed us and said, it's going to be okay. It's just a small little, you know, it's just in Nevada. It's just the Nevada chapter. And I was scared like crazy. And I think the reason why I was so apprehensive is if you're a teacher, to me, it always seems easier to teach to the kids because you obviously know more, usually, not just about tech, but about your content area than the kids. So you mess up, they don't know and stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be the expert in the room about computer stuff, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So I was scared, you know, what if this doesn't work? And Mike, you even came in and checked my equipment like a whole bunch of times, and you know, it worked that first time. It was pretty good. But then going forward from there, you know, things just fall apart. So after that, I did go ahead and present at the statewide Q conference. And that was even more scary because people are, you know, coming from all over, and you have people that you see on Twitter and stuff all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm serious. And then
I get that. I totally get that.
Then this didn't work. And you walk in, and Mike, you and I did last summer where you were presenting to staff, support staff. And we walked in, and I was like smiling because it took like 35 minutes to figure out how to set everything up. I was like, oh, that makes me feel so much better. But it's true because you just don't know. And some of my videos didn't work. I'm like, well, throw that out the window. Here's, you just have to adapt. And that's always, the thing. And like last year at Virgil Con, you remember I was like the first one and nothing worked. You're like, I'm like on the phone with you like this. And you're like, hang on, Brown. It's us. Hey, do you think you can reschedule? And I'm like freaking out. It just, these things happen. And so I think you have to get past all that. But, since then I just keep making myself do it, even though I'm not comfortable sometimes. And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, it's been as an observer of your journey, it's been like,
I've observed it all.
Yeah, it's been really like, it's been cool because you're like, all right, it's not, this is work, right? It's not suddenly I just show up and then I know stuff, right? There's a constant proof and reproof and proof and reproof and reproof and whatnot. I think, and that's kind of, I think goes to your passion as an educator, your character as somebody who wants to get better and whatnot. I think that's that's to be commended.
And what you put in is what you're going to get out.
Max.
So I mean, when you said that, so after at our school, we had talked about becoming Apple teachers and going through those certifications. So I just did it, and I was like, oh look, there's more. There's Apple teacher for iPad, and there's one for desktop. I'll just do both because I'm sure I'm going to need it. It depends on how badly you want to do something. I did the level 1 Google certification, and I'm working on level 2. I don't have time to finish level 2 right now, but I've completed all the stuff. And it's just a matter of, like I said, how much time do you want to put into it, and what more do you want out of it?
So all right, so that's a 5-year journey.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
4 or 5 minutes, right? So say I'm a teacher that's like, I'm a little tepid. I'm not really, given the circumstances that we have to teach in this school year, like I'm understanding that perhaps having a modicum of tech skills is important, but like, where do I start?
Well, what I've been this summer, I do some PD, some professional development for music teachers to bridge music and technology. I started advocating for that a couple of years ago, and not to throw out the music curriculum, but how can we supplement it? So I've been building these courses that are going to be through the PDE office in the fall. They had to totally go online. But having said that, one of the things I had put in there, I just didn't have room for. If you remember, Mike, you helped me with the first PDE course, and you helped me spend hours on that. And you're like, Brown, there's too much stuff here. And so, dumbing it down, I think the first thing is you keep it simple. Don't try to do whatever you've done for the past year in your content area, you have to give yourself permission that it's not going to happen this year. And that doesn't make you a bad teacher. It just means that we're adapting, and you have to give yourself permission to scale back. And then as you feel comfortable, you can start adding some more things back in. So I took the one thing that I couldn't put in, and I just did a whole webinar for teachers and put it on Facebook and word of mouth and everything. And we had used Nearpod in our Q conference. And so it's such a good tool for simplicity. So I decided to take that and kind of tailor it a little bit, walk people step by step. And so I've done 4 different trainings on that as well this summer. And about 100 teachers, I think, have gone through that. But so keeping it simple, but also in that training that I was saying is I also said you have to pick 1 or 2 things to focus on. Like if you're gung-ho and you're like, oh, I want to learn, and like I've been talking about how I just went crazy with learning this and learning that, there also comes a time where you have to be able to reflect. If you just have all these tools thrown at you, then it becomes overwhelming and you don't know what to do. And I know a lot of my music teacher colleagues, we've all been in the same webinars and, you know, in the chat box, hey, from Las Vegas. And, you know, we're all doing the same things. But what I said in the session is, even if, you know, the same applies for Nearpod, you have to pick 1 or 2 gems that are going to work for you to start with. And you need to find those things that you can take across multiple grade levels or multiple areas. Like if you just find a tool that you can only use in, you know, kindergarten as a specialist, I'm probably not going to focus on that. Whereas Nearpod I could use with any grade, so it's a lot more diverse. You know, you want to keep things simple, don't create more work for yourself, and you want to pick 1 or 2 things to really hone in on and work on that, getting those things good first.
I think you said something really important, and we have a question in the Facebook chat as well. It's okay to go back to a tool, and you don't have to like jump around and learn a new tool. You can go back to it and really master that tool before you jump onto something else. I think that that's something, there's a pressure of, I have to, you know, there's so many tools for me to learn. I have to learn all the tools. And that's not necessarily the case. If you do one thing really well, that quality is far more important than the quantity of tools that you know.
Exactly.
So Jenny says first that she can't wait for those PD courses and wants to know where you are with Canvas.
Well, we're talking keeping it simple, and I learned this from Mike every time we're on our tech stuff at our school. Find, you know, we're going to use Canvas, but we're not going to be building whole courses and all kinds of crazy stuff like that, even though I know how to do that. I don't have time for that. And especially in, you know, this is a temporary thing. I mean, this is not going to be, you know, the way it is right now. We don't want to, you know, you want to do what you have to do, survive, get the information out there and get it to parents and students in a reasonable and easy manner. You don't want to, I mean, that's the thing you have to think of too, because parents don't know how to use Canvas. Your kids aren't going to know how to use Canvas. So what's the easiest way to do it? So learning from Mike, I'm just quoting him right now. We're going to be doing, since the kids knew no classroom, we're going to be dropping everything and making it and putting it in Google Classroom. At our school, we're going to push to, as specialists, be on the classroom teacher's classroom platform, and then we'll just be a topic under that classroom. And if you're like wondering what that looks like, you can come to our session next week. I think it's Monday at 9. Mike will be leading that. And so he'll show you exactly what that means to create a topic. That way the students are all in one class. They don't have to go to multiple classrooms. You know, they don't have their class and then music classroom, and then that's too much in too many places. So if you just if the classroom teacher puts you on their classroom, it'll keep it a lot more neat. Then what we're going to do is take the classroom link and embed the classroom link into Canvas. So it's just going to be, hey, the kids log into Canvas. Here's the one thing, click the link, boom, it takes you to classroom. Because again, it's about working smarter. So if we're already familiar with Google Classroom, why do we want to learn a whole nother new platform? I mean, you can if that's what you want to do. And if you're maybe older students, you might want to do that. But think about those kinders and firsts. It's too overwhelming. This is a temporary situation right now. And then, you know, you can figure out how to do all that, you know, later as they get older. So what do you think, Mike?
Absolutely. So I mean,
right?
again, the strategy here is, if you were with us earlier today, we talked to Kurt about, again, talking your user, right? So your user, if you're talking especially K5, your user has no experience with Canvas whatsoever. Your teacher as user has no experience with Canvas as well. So you have the individuals that you're expecting to give content have no real functional understanding of how the tool works. The people you are expecting to lead on this journey also have no fundamental understanding of how the tool works. The parents of the users also have no understanding. So there's too much entropy in the system, in my opinion, there. And so what we're going to do is hack the tool. And I think that's when you start to start thinking like an engineer and less like, oh yeah, I'm just going to do what I'm told. Well, no. This is what we need to do. All right, we're going to take your tool and we're going to butcher it and cut it and move it around until it fits and works for what we want it to work for, to make people a little bit more comfortable in the process. And then what we're going to do is say, you know what, this is a tool that does have a lot of power. It's an amazing tool, but it's not a tool you can learn in 2.5 hours. It's a tool that you can take a year, and we can build a plan for a year's worth of professional learning so that by the end of the school year, you're a Canvas professional. You know exactly what you need to do. But you can't do that in 2.5 hours when you're trying to figure out where your kids are going to be at during your teaching, whether or not you have to come to school because your bandwidth stinks at your house. You got to come and like brave and put your mask on through. There's a lot of other things going on. So I think in terms of, again, looking at things empathically or empathetically, you got to really take that into account when you're building systems. And Webbs, can you speak to that in terms of like a software development? As if I'm dealing with software development, it can't be, this is the way, and it's the only intractable way, correct?
Yeah, so it's funny that you should mention that, because I remember when I was going through the training program, when I first started with ThoughtWorks, there was a problem that came up. We had this task, we had to design a website for a customer, et cetera. And we ran into a problem. I can't remember exactly what it was. Like somehow we needed to have access to a certain page of our website, and we were having trouble with it. And so when you really looked at what the requirement was, it was something like, users can view their shopping cart. And so we were trying to figure out a way, like, how do we get it to look nice and whatever. And I had said, well, it just says they have to be able to view their cart. So maybe if we do this like kind of weird hack where we just sort of display like a table, and this isn't the exact story, but it'll get the point across. We just display a table or something. It's not pretty, but it meets the requirements and it gets the job done. And I think sometimes we get hung up on what our expectations are of a finished product, and what we think we should be doing, and don't just do the hacky workaround that meets the minimum requirements. And so to kind of what you were saying, Brown, it's not going to be perfect. And I think April said yesterday, you can't let perfect be the enemy of good. So you do need more time than 2.5 hours to learn how to use Canvas. It's a great and powerful tool, like the great and powerful Oz. But the reality is it's not something you can master that quickly. It's not even a good idea to take all these users who have never used this tool before and to chuck it at them. For what reason? For your own reasons, because I need to record attendance. Is that the reason that this tool is being used? Like, that's great for you as person, controlling all the things, but it seems as though there's been no conversation about what's best for the user, what's best for the people on the other end of this. I know this would be a colossal failure in the software world.
Well, the thing that kind of has always bothered me, and if you attended my Nearpod training, this is what I said, and this was the rationale. I scroll, a lot of times I just have to scroll past Facebook feeds because there's a lot of negativity, but not even the negativity. It breaks my heart to see the pain and the frustration, and without revealing anything, Mike, we go to the tech classes that you provide at 3 p.m. for our teachers at our school. And we were meeting the other day, and one of the teachers just started breaking down and like crying. And we had to all like pick that person back up and just say, come on, it's okay. We're going to get through this. And if anyone is crying, that should not be happening. That's a failure, that the district is not doing enough to make us feel like we know what we're doing. And it breaks my heart. And so, that's why I've been really trying to just, advocate and help as much as I can, because nobody should feel like that. We're all, a lot of the people, that particular teacher's been teaching a long time. She's a good teacher. And, when you feel like that and you feel beat down and it just wears at your, inner being, and am I really that good of a teacher? Yes, you are. And it's just, this is a different situation. You're having to try to put a square peg in a round hole, and it's not going to fit.
So let's talk a little bit about that, Brown, because
by the way, Jenny says, I appreciate your positivity and encouragement.
Oh, actually, Jenny,
I try to do that a lot.
Jenny was in the boot camp. Again, we threw a bunch of stuff at the boot camp folks, and we purposely, so this is kind of the plan, right? We did this boot camp for 2 weeks. It was like, it's intensive, boom, 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 3 hours a day. We were like hammering stuff. And I was like, look, I'm just gonna go silent for a week and a half, 2 weeks. Because you need, like Brown said, you need some time to process. And what I hate doing personally is this, 2 hours ago, I just learned this and that. Now put this into practice and build, fam, like me personally, I need some time to take a nap. I need time to take a walk, play some video games, kind of toss that idea in my head, saying these are the parts of what you said that I like. These are the parts that I hated. These are the parts that perhaps need to be improved. I have another tool that might do this a little bit better. Those kind of things need to happen. So in terms of your music teacher, right? So again, this is kind of that's a niche area. What kind of things have you had to do as a music teacher to kind of advocate for the integration of technology into that space?
Well, I'll tell you where it kind of started. Again, way back, I don't think it was in 2016, because I didn't know anything. But I started getting more comfortable, and after I started presenting and doing things, I realized how little elementary music teachers, anyway, I'm not going to speak for secondary, but elementary music teachers don't really utilize technology into a lesson on a regular basis. Now you have your rock stars, and they do, and we do have those high flyers that do that. But as a normal group of teachers, our content area is very active, and it's music making. And yes, you can do that on GarageBand or whatever, but our main focus of our curriculum is to actually go to a physical instrument and to sing or to create and do things interacting with other students. So that was originally where a lot of maybe the pushback was coming. A lot of teachers didn't see the forest through the trees. They just think, oh, well, you're talking about having the kids sit down in your room and playing on GarageBand the whole time. No, I'm not. But trying to educate people, hey, here's a little tool that you could do at the last 5 minutes of your class. Here's how you can make an introduction video. So we're going to be talking about this topic today. I'm just going to make a little introduction video using a Snapchat filter or whatever filters you have. And it's going to introduce. And I'm going to tell you that I've tried it both ways. I've got my little puppets up in my classroom, and they say today's lesson is da 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 da, and they do the learning target and stuff. And most of they'll listen, and they'll respond, and they're not fidgety. Even fifth graders love puppets. Don't let them fool you, because I've asked them. They're like, no, we want the puppets. So I do that. But as soon as I recorded myself with a filter or with a puppet on a camera, and I just play it, you can hear a pin drop, because they are so in tune to screen time, whether we like it or not. This is what it is. And so that's what they're used to. And so when I pushed play, they were like, my classroom management. I feel like I have good classroom management anyway, but it was even better. I could have gone in the corner and, had a donut and they wouldn't even know I was gone. But, I mean, it was just these little things, little ways to use it. And so I started presenting, and it still was kind of like, well, I'm not sure, what to do, or, I don't think I want to do it. So that's when I started the PDE, and I talked to our elementary music coordinator. She thought it was a great idea. So I wrote up this thing with your help, Mike. You helped me kind of plan it out, ran it by her and her thoughts, and then we put it out. Well, I had this going in the spring as a blended class where they would do all their assignments on Canvas, and then they would come to the live sessions and we would make the music. Because again, it's about the active collaboration music making. I figured that would be a good way that they would see it and go, oh, I see how it relates now, instead of being a total asynchronous class, because then that would just be, again, reinforcing the whole, oh, you want us to do everything online. And that's not what the purpose of it was. So we started the class, and 2 weeks in, COVID hit, and I got a note, hey, guess what? We're going to have to cancel your class, or you're going to have to put it all online. And I'm like, again, working smarter and having that expectation, I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to put it online. I'm not going to turn this around in a week so that I just can't do it. I'm sorry, maybe later. So that's what I've been working on this summer, is to totally put it to an asynchronous class. Now, the only reason, why I feel like that works now is because of us being COVID bound here. We didn't have this, I feel like everyone would still be in that mindset of a fixed mindset where, it doesn't fit my curriculum. But being forced into this, people are now more open. You have no choice than to do it the way you want if you want to keep your job. And that's kind of the thing, is when we talk about buy-in, you have to have the support of your administrator. If your administrator is not going to support it for a school-wide, not everybody's going to feel comfortable, and they're not going to do it. That's just how it is. And so it won't be consistent. Now, you can still do it in your class, and you can teach your kids. It's going to actually put more, not stress on you, but it's going to make it longer for them to do it, because it's not being reinforced across their class. And Mike, you and I both know the teachers at our school that used it, and the teachers that didn't, we'd have to reteach over and over again. It can get very frustrating. But
I think something that you're saying, though, and so this is what I'm going to, I guess this is the frustration of leadership. All right. Now, you can offer things, and we offered totally free. Come in on a Saturday, we brought donuts, we laughed and joked, we built stuff, we made stuff. And we have the fact that you are this comfortable utilizing 21st century pedagogy after I've been in school 5 years, right? From someone, again, who cried at a computer, and you and Julie Bailey, if you're watching this, same deal with Bailey, right? From crying at a computer, right? To, okay, there has to be a path. And I think that is the important thing, that, and someone to walk you down the path to say, hey, okay, cool. And then somebody to say, hey, Brown, I'm gonna throw you in the deep end now. Again, the whole point of challenge you to go and present at that conference was to make you comfortable being uncomfortable. Stuff might not work. It's not gonna work in your classroom all the time. Technology is not a panacea. It's not gonna solve all the world's problems, but it is a tool that everyone, teacher, not teacher, whatever, needs to have in their toolbox in order to do work more efficiently, do work more innovatively, do work more creatively. And I think that that's the thing. And not to say that we were more Yoda, right? We showed you some stuff. We couldn't go into the battle with you and stuff. I mean, we could throw you from the Dagobah system and tell you to go back and you need to go and face your father. And that's going to be scary and stuff, but there's nothing we can really do about that. You have to face your fears at some point. So it is really heartwarming for me personally, and I think Webbs feels kind of a similar way, to see someone who, again, we saw at the, oh my God, the computer is scary, to, okay, this person's doing their own stuff. That's really dope. And this person's hopefully going to reach back and take as many teachers and pick as many teachers up with them as possible, with the idea that there's a sense of empathy there, because I've literally been in your shoes before. Let's all make it to the future together. So, definitely applaud that. Webbs.
Yeah. So I have two things. One is, you mentioned like it definitely helps to have your administrator on your side and backing you. I think there is a case to be made for being able to make a grassroots movement, and to make yourself a nucleation point to bring other teachers along on the journey. And I think you two are a perfect example of that. Not that your administrator was like opposed or anything, but right. You kind of created this grassroots movement of, we're going to do these things, these sessions on Saturdays. We're going to offer, being able to, if you want to show up, great. If not, that's fine too. And Mike, you brought plenty of teachers along with you through no mandate from your administrator. Like, your administrator didn't say, you need to do these Saturday classes. Like, you decided you wanted to mentor other teachers at your school and just started to do it. And I think so often we feel like we have to be directed to do a thing, and we forget that we are empowered to make the choice to do a thing. And so I would encourage other teachers who have those skills and abilities to share those and mentor other teachers. I think that's something that's sorely missing from a lot of schools, particularly here in Clark County, is some relatively organized and consistent teacher mentorship or professional growth and development that isn't the Wednesday afternoon torturous meetings that everyone complained about over the last couple of years. So I think it is possible to have like a sort of a small grassroots movement to gain some like leverage, or to build up a small group of people. Is everybody going to jump on the bandwagon? Probably not, but you can get a pretty sizable chunk of people kind of all moving in the same direction, and it becomes impossible to ignore that after a certain point.
And an administrator is going to appreciate the fact if you have, it's not, in other words, you're not asking them and expecting them to do it all. Like, well, here, I have an idea, but I'm not going to do it. Like, if you bring it to the table, and if you don't feel tech savvy, maybe there's somebody in your school that is a little more tech savvy. Maybe you can collaborate and work together. Our principal is very cool with, having Mike kind of take over and lead us where we need to be. So it takes a lot of pressure off of her. And then, when we do things, that helps out. And so, in other words, you don't want to go to your principal and just say, hey, I have an idea, now you figure it out. Come with some ideas and things already, and a team. You can't do it by yourself. I mean, if you're Mike, you can. But if you're Amy Brown, you can't. You need a team.
No. And that's the thing. The thing about it, and this is, I think, one of the golden rules of this time, is if you go into the desert by yourself, you're going to die. Yeah.
And I'm just laughing because, I just said that jokingly, but
I definitely.
You have Webbs. The two of you do a lot of things together. And like, you and I are doing this on Monday and Tuesday. And that is the thing, is you shouldn't go and do it by yourself. You need to have somebody else that you can work with a team. I was just joking.
No, absolutely. Again, totally got that. But that's one of the things I'm seeing online with people who are feeling frustrated because they're trying to make sense of this without a Yoda, without someone to kind of help them decipher, this is what this is going on. And I'm going to walk with you until you can walk by yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what is unfortunately sorely missed. It's also, people get lost in crowds. So the opposite is also true. It shouldn't be a situation where it's thousands of people. I need somebody in a small PLN that knows who I am, who can tailor things to me and say, look, this is how you do this. And I'm not going to talk to you once. I'm going to talk to you consistently. I'm going to check in with you and see what's going on, because as you get more inundated in the process, you're going to have more and more questions. You know what I'm saying? And I think that well, I'm a part of a lot of big Facebook groups with thousands of members and stuff like that. It becomes impersonal at a certain point. It becomes overwhelming because there's so much information coming at you. So, I mean, there is a sweet spot for the number of individuals in your orbit where you can really like touch people personally. And that was the cool thing about our Saturday crew. It was 10, 11, 12 people at the highest, right? Core of like 6 or 7 people. We really were able to stop, go and say, this is a particular problem that I have. Let's deal with this particular problem right now. Look, God, this is a problem that so-and-so has. This is how we avoid this problem. This is other tools we can use or whatever. And I think that was the power of that small group. When you are small, you're agile. When you're big, there's a point in which you get monolithic because it's very difficult for you to turn groups of thousands of people. But 7 or 8 people, I mean, if you want to go to kind of, warfare, guerrilla warfare, that's very, very quick and tactical. I can get those 7 people. We can go. We need to go. Large armies need to be fed and housed. And I 7 of us, we can sleep under the trees and we're good. And we can hide ourselves. And we're, you know what I'm saying? So there are advantages to having small cadres. That's one of the things. If you're a teacher, you're listening to this, just finding 3 or 4 teachers at your building, not even going to this, do the whole school. 3 or 4 people at your building and saying, cool, I'm the music teacher. This person's the art teacher. This person's the tech teacher, or this person's the English teacher. We're all going to look at this problem from different perspectives, and we can create this like really cool gumbo of a solution if we have everyone contribute, but not so many everyones that it gets lost in the sauce.
Well, it also doesn't. Go ahead. Brown, go.
Okay. I was just going to say that in our afternoon sessions, you've been teaching us too, that if we all work collaboratively on one template or sharing a template, again, it's about, I keep preaching, work smarter, not harder. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. And if you're not communicating, if your team doesn't have that collaboration, then everybody's doing all this individual work and you're just making more stress for yourself. You really have to be a cohesive team and find a way, set those norms in your GLC and find the strengths, because there are certain people that have, I'm really good at the math component. My strength is language arts. My strength is the science. And then if you have to let go. You can't do everything. And for a lot of teachers, that's hard because we like control. But if you're going to work as a team, you have to be willing to trust your team and let go and let them do it. Let them, do their thing and then share the materials, and it's less work.
I think too, something that you don't have to build the International Space Station. Like, it doesn't have to be this giant, oh my gosh, we're going to make this do this huge project. It can be a very small, hey, we're going to meet for 30 minutes every Wednesday. That's all we're going to do. And I think cadence is a really powerful thing. So often we say, oh, we're going to do a thing and then never set the time for it. But if you just have a regular cadence, like you do the 3 o'clock meetings every day, and sometimes maybe, we're not going to do a Wednesday meeting, but we'll still meet Thursday, Friday. Having that cadence of 1% progress every time you meet, it does eventually add up. And then it doesn't feel like you're trying to, eat an elephant in one bite, or whatever other analogy I could possibly come up with, because I'm all over the map right now. But yeah, like those little baby steps. And I think something that Mike preaches a lot is what you just mentioned, play to your strengths, find the people. If you don't do something well, find someone else who does do that thing well and lean into them to be able to do it. As teachers, we've been told, like, nope, you have to be master of everything. Even beginning in education as kids, you're told, be master of everything. You have to know reading and writing and math and art and science and PE and all of this. That's just not how we are as people. Like, we have certain things we care more about, we're more interested in. Mm-hmm. So lean into that, lean into your strengths, and lean on someone else for their strengths.
Community. And the consistency builds community. And that's one of the things we have at those 3 o'clock meetings. I've gotten to know certain people a lot better than we would have been able to, given that we have different prep periods. I only would pass that person in the hall. I didn't know about that person's personal life and stuff like that. You know, things have come out in those meetings where you're like, oh, wow. You really build this sense of the sensitivity of other individuals, you know what I'm saying? And you also, again, Voltron is the goal, right? Like, it's not a situation where the lions are powerful by themselves, but when they become Voltron, then they can take out the Megazords and those kind of things. You know, one lion by itself can be destroyed by the Armada, but together you can do like really, really dope stuff. And I think that that's something that the idea of brick and mortar buildings reinforces in teachers' minds. Brick and mortar rooms reinforces in teachers' minds that we are separate. This is my domain. I will not, you know, inside my domain, I rule and I do X, Y, Z. This is our school. Right now, we have the ability to collaborate with people outside of our school in like the easiest ways possible, right? If Brown and Jenny wanted to collaborate, there's nothing stopping them from collaborating and say, we're going to teach Jenny's kids today how to do X, Y, Z, because I have this particular strength, she has this other particular strength. There's nothing to stop us, but there is something that stops us. It's people looking behind them. And I'm writing an article now for a class that I'm taking. We moonwalk in education all the time. That is the consistent mode of travel. We are looking behind ourselves and trying to go in the future, not paying attention at all. And it becomes a scenario in which it is frustrating when you've got, you know, online museums. You have experts that are lining up to go talk to students. You have the ability to, you know, people are still on schedules. Like there's these fixed pieces of time where you could say, you know what? There are two second grade teachers. What if we trade off of kids? Rather than me having to teach for the whole hour, you go and teach for the first 15 minutes. Cool. And I'm going to go ahead and use the bathroom, watch my kid or whatever. I'm going to come back 15 minutes later and kind of take our crew. There's nothing to stop us from being innovative except ourselves. And that is the very reading mindset. Documents. Go ahead, Brown.
Our fixed mindset. It goes back to the mindset again. That's all we've been taught. That's all we know. And so if you want that growth mindset, you have to think outside the box. You have to. I mean,
there is no box. It's a matrix.
Take a risk. There's nothing. This is the perfect time to experiment and fail and not get in trouble.
Oh, facts.
Everybody's going to be in the same boat. So why not try?
Because that's scary. And again, I think you have to sit at the computer and cry sometimes, because that's part of growing, right? You know,
and I've been there.
And you also have to have somebody that says, hey, Brown, you're going to do something you've never done before. Guess what? I'm going to be with you while you do it, right? Because again, everyone, no matter how proficient they may be perceived at this point, has had a moment in which you didn't know what you were doing and you were making it up as you went. You were just trying to, pull crap out of your head. Everyone has done that crap. All right. And if somebody tells you they haven't, they're telling a lie. Facts. I remember the first time I presented at a conference, I'm like, all right, I think I know what I'm doing. I had this whole long presentation out. I had all this stuff popping off or whatever. And I get in there and I'm like, what if I say something that is blatantly wrong? And you all these doubts start popping in your head, like, oh, this is going to be somebody in here that knows more than I do. And they're going to say this and that. And you have to make peace with that you're not omnipotent, that you're not omniscient, that you're not all knowing, that you are going to make mistakes that everybody else does. And one of the things that I've learned from fourth grade, Miss Jackson, she just passed away, was the worst teacher that I ever had. The worst teacher. But she's the teacher that got me out of my shell of I'm still an introverted person, but I was an absolute introvert at that point. I didn't say anything in class. I stayed in the back of the classroom. I did my work, etc. But one of the things she always told me was, first of all, be forewarned is to be forearmed. If you know something's coming, you can prepare yourself for anything. Secondly, she put me in front of Gonzaga College High School. This is an elite prep school in Washington, D.C. It's where Al Gore went to high school. A lot of the senators and stuff that have been, and their kids go or whatever. And we have to do this presentation. It's a Black History presentation, but I didn't know it was a Black History presentation. She prepares me to go talk about Abraham Lincoln and George Washington at the Black History Month presentation. Now, I am an introvert's introvert at this point. We have to draw straws for who goes first. Who do you think goes first? So I have to get up there on the stage. My mom still has this VHS tape. And I get on the stage and my legs are literally knees are knocking into each other. You can visibly see me shaking, right? And so I'm just freaking out on the stage. And I like mumble through, I don't even remember I mumbled through some crap for 10 minutes. And I sat down. And when I sat down as a fourth grader, in my mind, I said, this will never happen to me again. I will never be publicly embarrassed in front of another group of people. And so there's a group, if you're an introverted person, you have students that are introverted, if you're introverted yourself, Toastmasters is an incredible group that goes and shows you how to public speak. And they had a chapter in DC, and my mom got me associated with them. And they actually came to our school and did public speaking courses for us. And it was, it just helped build a lot of confidence and whatnot. It was amazing. But it also was a situation where it taught you strategies of how to, you know what? If you don't know something, this is how you spin your way out of it. This is how you appear to be confident. This is how you do this. This is how you avoid eye contact with people while making contact with them so you don't get freaked out. So you have to fall on your face to understand where you need to get better. If you don't, there's no avoiding falling on your face. And I think that's another part with the tech integration. We want to go from 0 to, oh my God, I'm amazing, without constantly falling and having the being inoculated to that particular injury, you know what I'm saying? And that is not pleasant. It hurts. But when you go back and look at it, you're like, man, I came a long way from crying in front of the computer screen. Now I'm standing in front of people and I'm helping them get better at their deal. So, man.
Yeah, I had one of those moments, not about tech, but I felt a little goober stupid. In the Facebook group, I was showing them how to use Google My Maps yesterday, and just made a little tutorial about, how to do things. And my example was on the 13 colonies, and I clicked on Maine. 13 colonies. So I had to apologize on my Facebook group and go, haha, I'm not a history buff, sorry. Like, okay. Out of all the ones I could pick, right down the coast, the one I picked was Maine. I mean, I picked Massachusetts too, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, it's like, oh, well, you apologize, you go on, and, everyone makes mistakes, and that's how it is.
You laugh and you keep it moving. I mean, that's what you do.
You laugh and keep it moving.
That's it. That's it. Indeed. So, I mean, it's always, I mean, I talk to you often, so this is not like a different situation here, but like going into August, especially, Western school districts like ours, people are going to be going to school a lot earlier. We didn't delay our school start at all. We're kind of like going to throw people in there. What would be in the short term, all right, beyond just, hey, kind of do what you can and kind of moderate, what other kind of strategies would you give a teacher just kind of dipping their toe in this, in terms of just like time management, or tools you might want to be very interested in terms of like just kind of converting very quickly? What kind of ideas would you give somebody?
Yeah, well, I just talked about Nearpod because I just think, like, as much as you've talked about it and we used it, it's just a wonderful tool where you can just put everything in one place. Everything's there, and then you can just put that whole thing into your classroom or into Canvas. You can embed it all right there. I know a lot of teachers are our kinders are looking at Seesaw, which is another platform where it can just house everything. You just have to make it simple. Another thing that the way I decided to go after, your talk to us, Mike, was I just built a website. And I really wanted the kids to have choice, but I didn't really want to make a whole Bitmoji virtual classroom. I mean, that's the big thing now. And there are teachers that are sharing their materials left and right that I could just take out their Bitmoji, put mine in, and I could call it a day, which would be smarter, not harder. But I don't know. I just felt, with you were talking about, again, the ease for parents and things. The good thing about having a website is the students wouldn't have to know their Google information. So even if you do everything in Classroom or Canvas, maybe just a generic website with a link or with your stuff, so that if a student doesn't, they just move here and their Google account's not active, or they can't remember it, or a parent's looking for it, having that information for them in a place. The other thing you said too, which I think is important for teachers getting started, is whatever platform you're using, you're going to need to walk through your parents with a how-to video. So like use Loom. I love Loom, so I do that. Screencastify, is it Screencom or Screencast or something? Screencastify, I think it's only like 5 minutes, but I love Loom. But whatever you decide to do, an iMovie, you need to record yourself walking them through, this is how you're going to use Canvas. And use your cursor and show them, hey, here's the first button, and walk them through it. Because like we said at the beginning, the kids aren't going to know it. The parents aren't going to know it, especially with your littles. They're going to be the ones getting into the platform, not the student. So you need to make it easy and accessible for them as well. So definitely a how-to on this is what we're going to use and this is how you do it, and just walk them through it.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. So awesome. If you're someone watching this, and again, you haven't heard, we're going to do a little mini conference on Monday. It's going to, not that it's going to be Clark County specific, but we're going to kind of look at our local district and say, these are the things that we kind of, these are tools that you can use, day one. And with this Canvas flavor, we're going to kind of tailor some things. This is how we use Google Classroom with Canvas. This is how you would use slides with Canvas. This is how we deal with those things. Both Brown and I are both proficient with Canvas, so there shouldn't be a scenario, or it'll be a scenario where you can ask questions in the chat. We can kind of walk through things, but it's going to be 6 hours on Monday and 6 hours on Tuesday. I'm just walking through things back. All the live sessions are totally free, won't cost you anything, but on the playback and whatnot, it's a lot of work to put these things together. So buying us a cup of coffee gets you access to those videos for 90 days. And then there's another tier in which you can get it for the whole entire year. So again, I really, am an advocate for educators. I think that we do the toughest job in America in a lot of ways, in terms of ensuring that the American future is secure by making sure the kids have the skills necessary to compete globally. And so we try to provide. Virgil Con is totally free every year. We do a lot of free stuff. We're streaming stuff through our Facebook page, etc. And if you need something, shoot us an email. Brown, I think, is on that same bandwagon in terms of, hey, we are here to help people be the best versions of themselves. And if that that involves you learning how to code, great. If that involves you just using Nearpod in your classroom, that's also great. I don't think that there's everyone's different in that sense, and it's not doing everything, but doing something as we move forward. Webbs, anything to add?
I mean, one of the tenets of what we do is, our goal is to help out teachers the best we can, to provide a community and a professional learning network for people that, you like showing up to these things, you like hanging out with us for an hour or whatever. Hopefully we provide you something that's valuable that you can use, that makes your job easier. But I think, Brown, you hit it on the head. Like, you need a community of people, you need a team to support you. And whether that team is in your building or in your district or all over the world, I think that helps kind of diversify your lens in terms of the information that you have access to, and being attuned to what's happening in the world of education all across the globe. So obviously you can get that here. We have folks who come on here from all over the world. And we're always looking to add new people to our little crew. So
to plug you guys, I'm your poster child. I'm your poster child for success. I went from zero to hero, right?
You too could be the next Amy Brown.
But to Brown, though, you put in the work, you did what you needed to do, you showed up, you struggled, you fell on your face, you got back up, you did what you needed to do. And that, I think, again, that the hero's journey is something that happens in life, right? That is what the deal is. So there is no getting and saving the prince or the princess without going through the trials and tribulations of learning how to actually get those skills and whatnot. So,
and plenty of people stop at crying in front of the computer and then say, oh, well, I'm never going to be able to do this. So, why bother? Or there are people who would rather go back to school in person, risk their lives and the lives of the people around them than have to learn how to distance learn.
Facts. And unfortunately, this is not going away, because certain people are going to look at this space and say there are possibilities for innovation right now. Like the micro learning and micro schools, that is going to be a thing next school year. Like there are going to be literally swarms of parents who take themselves out of the public education system and build their own educational institutions, because it is possible. And I think if if public schooling doesn't realize that, and they realize that too late, you're going to be screwed. There's far too many people who are now just observing what is happening and saying, this is a place where I can insert myself to give teachers a bigger platform, more independence, give parents more independence, more opportunities. And again, there is nothing that stops Amy Brown from going and collaborating with Jenny, even though they are physically miles apart. But those kids can be in the same room, meeting kids who are of different cultures, who live in different places, who can exchange. Why would we stop that scenario when I can have those kids start to smash ideas against one another and say, cool, I didn't know that there is a school in Mesquite. I don't even know who Mesquite is, but there's an opportunity for a kid from the east side of Vegas to learn about Mesquite, and a kid from Mesquite to learn about the east side of Vegas, and have an opportunity that in the future, we don't have to deal with a lot of the stupid stuff that we're dealing with right now in terms of people not understanding the perspective that other people have and the cultural differences and all that kind of stuff like that. So,
but finding those gems that you're enjoying now and continuing them on. That's, I think what you're saying is, there's a lot of talk where you hear, oh, I can't wait until this is over and I can go back to normal. No, we don't want
gone.
There is no normal. We don't want to go back, but we can progress. And that's what, I've been trying to advocate with the collaboration of technology and music. For us, it's as simple. I guess I never addressed that last thing here real quick. But, for us, we have a lot of posters and visuals that we draw and make real cutesy, but you have water damage, they get lost, they get torn. And so like the simplest thing I've said is put your visuals online in a Google slide or a Keynote or a PowerPoint. Let it live in the drive. And there's so many cool things you can do with animating and, drag and drop. And so that would be a very simple way to move the elementary music education world towards 21st century skills and technology. You're still making music, but you're just, how can I incorporate the technology to move us forward? So there's my final thought.
Indeed. Brown, appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we'll see you at 3 today.
Yep. Love being with you guys.
Again, it's all love. This is the end of the Virgil Con scenario Hustle for 2020, the distance learning COVID edition. So again, for all those who are watching either live or on playback, keep up the good fight. Again, it's improving 1% every day. And don't go by yourself. Be greater together. That you find someone to help you in your journey and whatnot. That is different, like has different skill sets, different strengths. So that one of the things that one of the things I appreciate about Webbs is that though we're both interested in similar things, we both bring different skills to the table. I think she helps me not have to worry about certain things. I'm like, oh, Webb's got that. And she can kind of deal with stuff. So
yeah, because you are not organized.
No. So
when we do stuff at school, I have to follow you with my iPad and you dictate to me. So I understand Webb's.
So, but again, I don't pretend that that's my strength. So as long as you're real with yourself, it is what it is. If you lie to yourself, then there's no greater lie than you tell to yourself.
It's a trade-off too, though, because like you push me to be more creative and to remember to look at things like the aesthetic of what I'm presenting. So I want to get to the nuts and bolts of just delivering the information. You remind me that it has to be sexy.
Indeed. Sexy yeah. So I mean, indeed.
Great.
So for all those, it is noonish in the Pacific time
Hoodlums time zone.
Again, Monday, August the 3rd and Tuesday, August the 4th. And that's distance.theintelligenthoodlums.com. You can register there. All the live sessions are free. We'll be dealing with that. We're also going to probably kind of keep on the lookout, kind of some like basic Canvas course type live streams on our Facebook page. Like, we're not going to say you need to learn how to use Canvas. That's not the point. The point is here's just some tips. If you have to survive in a Canvas-centric environment, here's what you can do to link from Canvas to your Google Classroom, which you might be a lot more familiar with, or your Seesaw, or your Adobe, or whatever other learning management tool you're using. Here's some tips and tricks, some design tricks, some hacks and whatnot that you can get in an hour and kind of rock and roll with. So be on the lookout for that. We're kind of finalizing that. I'll talk to Webbs and we kind of figure that out. But I think that's something that's also going to be necessary because if you think you're going to master Canvas in 2.5 hours, you are sadly mistaken, my friend. Sadly mistaken. So God bless America, Belgium, Ohio, even though I don't want to say Ohio because of the Samson yesterday kind of messed that up. We're not shout out.
Are you originally from Ohio?
Yeah.
Why do we have so many Ohioans? This hurts my Michigander heart.
My Brutus bobblehead.
Yeah. So,
you're the third Ohioan we've had on.
Yeah. So, again, I tolerate Ohioans just because they have some people who are cool from Ohio, but overall, I'm like, Michigan, I was more of a Wolverines fan as a kid, but now I'm kind of weighing on Jim Harbaugh has kind of like destroyed that for me. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
All right.
God bless everybody.
Thanks, everybody.